everybody. Welcome to Movies by the Letter.
And we're on in 3, 2, 1.
You guys ready?
I'm ready. Nick?
You ready?
So pissed off right now.
You're the host?
The host with the most.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Nick. I'm the host, and welcome to Movies by the Letter. This is the show where we pick a letter.
So tired.
Oh my god.
We
pick
stayed
a
up
letter and we
until
pick 3 movies to watch.
6:30 a.m. watching one of the films on this
I'm
list.
Nick, and I have 2 other co-hosts with me that are excited to be here.
No.
Say
I'm
names.
always excited to record these episodes. I don't know what you're talking
These
about.
episodes are more fun than the movies we watched.
Can you just say your names?
I'm Carter Green.
I'm Jonathan.
And
They should know by now. They shouldn't be starting on episode 7.
Some people do.
Okay, whatever, then.
You've never sometimes you work
No, I
backwards
don't.
with podcasts.
Sometimes you pick your favorite
Oh, if you
movie.
work backwards,
Every podcast you
mean,
listen to, you go to
that's
the
kind of embarrassing.
you go to the first episode.
You should.
No, you go to your
You wanna
favorite
see the
movie,
progression?
Zookeeper.
Yeah, I've seen all 1,500 Joe Rogan episodes.
This will go.
Anyway.
This is gonna go viral, and people will come to our podcast for the Zookeeper episode. They
Oh my god.
Did you
The infamous Zookeeper episode.
Anyways, what did everyone pick for the letter Z?
Zookeeper.
I picked 0 Dark 30.
pick the Z and 2 Naughts. That's a Z and O.
Who would like to start?
Well, looks like Zookeeper is up. Zookeeper. Hold up, let me pull up.
Can we get a plot?
Let me pull up the director first, because I wanna. He had a clear vision for this. Frank Coraci or Coraci? It's
Kobayashi.
I don't know. You pronounce it.
Oh, famous French surrealist director Franco Coraci.
There are
This is
some-
part of the
there are
Czech
s-
New
Yeah.
Wave.
Similar to The Joke, which we reviewed.
Famous director of he directed Wedding Singer. That's actually a good movie.
What did he direct?
The Wedding Singer.
He directed
I don't know what that
Blended.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, whatever.
Zookeeper is a movie
Explain the plot to me.
I picked out of morbid curiosity.
You weren't curious. You knew what you were getting into.
I knew what I was getting into.
you
I wanted to
knew
see how bad it would be.
You knew exactly what you were doing, and I'm still angry that I.
Well, I
wasted
want to
2
talk about
hours
the
of my
mood
life.
shifts throughout this movie too, because we changed as people after,
Like
in the middle of this
we'll
film.
we'll go
We have
around
to
the
talk
table.
about what we thought of it first.
All right.
We'll go
Let's
around
just
the
go
table
over. Let's
and
give a
everyone will
brief.
talk about their mood throughout the
I'll give
entire
a brief
movie.
summary of what Zookeeper is. Kevin James plays a lovable loser.
Lovable.
He is fat and incompetent.
Classic
and
James.
He's
constantly
impeccable.
messing up with the
What
ladies.
is the review I read?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
pull this up.
impeccable screen presence.
An irresistible screen
Yeah.
persona is what he was
Like
saying.
anyone goes-
Classic Kevin James. He is a zookeeper, and then one day he discovers first it starts off with a heartbreaking rejection.
And I
by
think that's
Kevin
where the
James.
themes of
And
this
it
movie
actually
really start
gets
to.
called back at the end with the role reversal.
The themes in this movie are.
So yeah, Kevin James discovers that the animals in the zoo can all secretly talk.
Or can they?
And they all decide they're going to band together and help Kevin James find a mate, find happiness. And basically goes on a journey where he kind of discovers
An
himself
epic,
from
if you
there.
will.
He goes down a dark path, he becomes a car salesman.
If you lay out the plot of this movie, it's insane.
He becomes a car he becomes a car salesman, he gets the girl, but he realizes she wasn't his true love. His true love was in front of him the whole time.
Classic bait and switch.
His zookeeper friend, whose name I don't care. I don't know.
Kate.
So
Kate?
Yeah.
Alright, Kate. Him and Kate, they live happily ever after. Movie ends. What did you guys think of
So for
Zookeeper?
years, film lovers have theorized about the true meaning of this movie. Were the animals real? Could they truly talk, or was this all just a figment of Kevin James' imagination? And I think, looking beyond the comedy I think this is truly a dark comedy. If you look at it, sure there are funny moments. There are also some deeply unsettling and dark moments in this.
I took this as
Dark
a tragedy.
Dark themes of
Tragedy.
Dark themes of loneliness
Tragic,
and
alright.
despair. How you deal with grief in different ways. We see very slow. Okay, this movie ass.
What did
And
you expect?
so Yeah, I expected bad, and like, so what I was expecting was a really bad to the point where it's funny movie, and for probably the first 45 minutes, I did not get that, and then the scene happens. Something happens that truly shifted my opinion. Kevin James and his gorilla friends, played by who was it played? I don't care who it was played by. It doesn't matter.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, whatever. They go.
This is the
They go on
The
a-
Zookeeper master over
Yeah.
They have a fun night out. They go to a TGI Fridays, and what can
Totally
only
not
be
a
called
product placement.
and what can only be called a surrealist moment in this movie, which generated some genuine laughs from me from the ridiculousness. He's playing foosball in this tight t-shirt. He's getting ladies. It's crazy. They're dancing around the bar. It's enjoyable. I liked it, and from then on out, I was invested. We're cracking jokes about this movie. I was into it.
One thing I will say about this movie is, while we were watching, at least I was surprised at how little like actual jokes the movie had.
Yeah,
there were no.
It really doesn't.
There
like,
wasn't
the
any
jokes
like
were
set
like,
up punchline jokes.
here's
At
Kevin
best,
James
it
in
was
an-
Kevin James being like fat or silly
or someone says
he
something.
would
fall.
he would
and-
fall, or he would do something awkward, or be in a weird, or do something a grown man shouldn't be doing.
But I think that's part of the reason why this movie actually rises above, like, it's what would be like Jack and Jill-esque movie.
don't
that type
don't
of,
talk down about that film.
because Jack and Jill is like a painful experience because it's so unfunny that you just have to sit there in silence and
I
take
think you
it.
could describe some of this as painful.
And a lot of Zookeeper is like that too. But there's long stretches where there's almost no jokes, where you can make fun of the movie, and I think that's where it becomes more tolerable than something like
We had
a Ridiculous Six
we
or
had
a Jack and
We
Jill.
had fun running gags of Kevin James and all of his friends being like extremely racist, or
Or him
engaging
being
in
extremely
or
racist.
engaging in bestiality with the gorilla.
There are
Which is
lots
funny
of
as the-
parallels to Zetting Two Knots.
Oh yeah,
that you'll see
we'll
in the
talk
future.
about Life's a Zoo.
This movie has a theme, and it's like monkeys and zoos.
Wait, Nick, did you like it?
Of course not.
Oh.
What? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I mean,
Of course.
this movie's truly about the meaning of life and how we're all really trapped in the zoo.
Well,
Also,
Poignant.
Do we want to talk about how untalented Kevin James is?
Yeah, we
we don't
discovered.
know. There's
we discovered
an
that
anomaly
he's-
about Kevin James.
We discovered that he's never been in anything good, and we don't think he ever will be.
We don't know where he
We
came
don't know
from.
where he came from. King of Queens.
Oh yeah.
But even then, like, how many people watch King of Queens?
I think the industry birthed him out of a vat of chocolate, and he rose.
I
out
think
of
he's
it.
a replicant made for this.
Alright, we need the stereotypical fat guy
There's
to put in
not-
every B movie.
There's not 1 ounce of personality or comedic talent or anything that comes out of him. It's all just, I'm fat, I mess up sometimes, I trip, I fall. And he doesn't ever deliver jokes, he doesn't have a character, he's just like there and he's fat.
Adam Sandler's in this movie,
Oh my god.
Sandler,
a great actor. And we discovered that probably the best performance in this movie comes from none other than the monkey, star of other films such as The Hangover Part 2 and Night of the Museum. I didn't realize that it had all been the same monkey this whole time.
I do give the movie credit for using a real monkey.
And there are some instances of animal training that I
Real-
thought were
yeah,
like
I want-
genuinely like, okay.
I want a version of this movie where all the special effects are taken out. Because that scene where Kevin James tries to run the hostage would be way better.
Yeah,
I want a
agree.
version where all of the animal dialogue is taken out, so it's just Kevin James talking to silent animals.
Well, that's that.
What do you mean do that?
That is how you could interpret the film.
hysteria.
Is Kevin James has lost it. He's finally cracked after all of this.
And him
misery
at the
he's
car
had to go
dealership,
through.
it's all just a fantasy.
Yeah,
It's never real.
He never actually
Like,
wins.
how much
then.
money can you make from a car dealership?
And
Like,
he
actually-
automatically becomes like...
What you
He
didn't
becomes
see is that
extremely rich.
this was actually the theatrical ending, and that the actual director's cut ends with the final
Him
shot
waking
of
up.
Kevin James in an insane asylum. He's shaking back and
It's
forth.
like Caligari.
I got with Kate. I made it.
Alright, whatever.
All his chimp buddy like puts an arm over his shoulder at the end, and they look on into this magical zoo that they've made.
Can you talk about the actual ending though? It ends like in a weird way.
It just ends.
It just ends like they're just staring at the city. We think that
They've taken over.
my interpretation is they took over the city because it looks barren.
The talking animals realize they're stronger than the humans.
Yeah, it's like Rise of Planet of the Apes, but all the animals.
Can we talk about the morality of the
Can we
animals?
talk about the brutal rape scene in the middle of this? Kind of odd.
Oh boy.
A lot of
I'm not
place
touching this
for
one.
a kid.
I'm not touching that with
I touched this with a 10-foot pole.
I'm not touching that with a monkey
But
stick.
can we talk about the morality of these animals?
Yeah.
So apparently they like feel like humans, they act like humans, they want to help Kevin out.
I
so
pointed
obviously
this
they
out.
have
After a
emotions.
kid fell in the cage and the bear was like, "You're lucky that kid was gonna be a lunch." It's like, would they just eat that kid normally?
They're
They
killing
only-
they're killing humans, but they like
They only have
sympathize
an
and
affinity
realize the plights of humans.
Like,
so
what
why
happens-
are they?
No, only Kevin James. That's
They
it.
They
it's
all-
all in his head.
They
It's all
form
in
a
his
special
head.
connection to Kevin.
I'd like to talk about the bear scene too because the bears are. This adds to my theory that Kevin James is imagining it all. I think that's a pretty obvious interpretation. I think you guys were feeling that a little bit too, right?
It's hard to deny it.
Yeah, I mean,
all the signs are there.
so the bears are in open during the middle of the day during the zoo. They're teaching Kevin James how to act like a bear. Obviously, this would blow their cover. They're talking out loud, but no one seems to notice. All they see is Kevin acting weird.
But why wouldn't he be just mauled?
Now, okay, Zookeeper is a movie.
Have you ever seen
that-
Grizzly Man? Nich?
Maybe it's because he actually wasn't in the cage.
Zookeeper is a movie that requires a rewatch. There's so many underlying themes
No
and
thanks,
tones
I'm good.
to discover. It's vast little secrets here and there you gotta look at.
It's hard to decipher what is reality and
Yeah,
what is
interpret,
the
yeah.
unreality. It's that classic unreliable narrator.
Yeah, it's a movie that they leave it up to your own interpretation, which I
Yes.
like. I like the ambiguity of it.
I was waiting for Kevin James to show his penis in that pissing scene, but he never does. And I was kind of disappointed.
Again, I've been waiting for the director's cut of this film where he had a little more freedom. The studio
Yeah.
wasn't bearing down on him.
They needed to turn into a family movie, whatever.
Whatever.
They skipped the scene where the baby's dropped in the wolf cage. He's
Has
like,
sacrifice.
breakfast time!
Yeah.
Kevin is like, classic Wolfie.
The first like 3 scenes of this movie are shot decently, and then they just give up.
Yeah, what do you
Like, whatever.
They took the effort to do a dolly zoom.
They did do a dolly zoom! Oh my god!
There was
It's insane!
the Dutch angle at one point
Yeah.
for some reason.
And they give up
Like,
after the
ah,
first like
wow.
10 minutes.
Like, I
So
don't-
we're surprised. We were like, this isn't like terribly shot.
And
It's
then they just
confident.
give
I can
up.
understand what's going on. And then it
Joe
comes.
Rogan's in this movie.
Yeah, Joe
Oh.
Rogan is in
We
this
thought there'd be a cameo, but he's like a main character.
He's a major character who's just gone, by the way.
He does just leave. They just dispose of him after the party.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
The scene where the paparazzi is taking pictures of Kevin James for some reason.
That is
was
insane,
so
too.
funny.
That
After he
scene-
makes fun of some guy for
He destroys one guy.
like that had to be a fantasy.
It had
There's
to be.
no. It reminded me of like American Psycho.
Paparazzi.
Like American Psycho.
This movie has a lot of
like,
parallels to Joker.
I was just about to say Joker. He
Sure.
feels like society has turned
There's
against
some
him.
dark
he
like
feels like
incel themes going on
yes,
here.
for sure.
He hates women.
no one likes him. No one appreciates him. He's doing all this hard work, but because of who he is, instead of white, you could say fat. Like he's mad that everyone's against him because he's fat and
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Truly,
So-
it's all his own ways.
You want to?
I mean, the ladies he
Donald
gets
Monkey?
with. I mean, come on.
What?
The ladies he gets with.
They're pretty hot.
They are.
Yeah,
It's fantasy.
It's
It's all in his
insane.
head.
that's what I'm saying. Is there's no way.
Here's my last theory. Kevin James is actually one of the animals in the zoo, and he's fantasizing about being a human in the real world. And it's all metaphorical. The fact he's trapped in the life he has.
But this is
In the
the
zoo.
deciding factor. Which animal is he?
Which animal would you think he would be?
Elephant.
I think he'd be like some fat dumb animal. I don't know. Like It's a fat dog.
walrus.
The layout of this zoo is really confusing.
It is really confusing.
I couldn't tell if it's small. I think
Or
it seemed like there
in
were like
some,
the lines
in some
break
scenes
out
it seems like
seemingly
this
easily.
giant, expansive.
other scenes. It
theme
seemed like there
park.
were like 7 animals in it, which there probably were because it's all they could afford.
It seems like a lot of animals just break out
Let
very
me pull up
easily.
what this movie grossed at the box
They have
office.
terrible I guess cliche side character animals like
boy, there's a lot of-
sassy black giraffe.
There's a
Gay
lot of...
lisp.
Gay lisp. What was it? An elephant?
But it like loses it halfway through the movie.
What was the gay lisp animal?
The
I thought it was the elephant,
There's
but
elephant,
like
yeah.
I didn't hear
This
it.
movie grossed almost $170 million at the box office.
Yeah,
I was surprised at how little that the animals like did stuff. Other than the gorilla seemed to be a main character. The other animals didn't really participate
Yeah, no.
very
Because
much.
the gorilla's a
It's
guy
got
in a suit.
Funny gags. They couldn't really do anything.
I mean, the gorilla was
The
a real
wolf
gorilla.
was literally just a dog.
It's a very human movie.
Yeah, it connects with you on a deep, emotionally and raw human level.
Even if you haven't gone through the motions that Kevin experienced, depression, grief, like those things, you can at least relate. You can feel that human sympathy for him.
The struggle between what society thinks you should do and what you truly love to do.
That's
There's
the
themes of
truly
that there.
genius
The American
irony of this
dream.
movie.
It talks about the American
consumerism.
dream. Like,
He has to sacrifice doing what he loves to make more money.
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
critiques the rich and their
Yeah,
silly
classism.
furniture.
He's up in the
Yeah.
the high levels with the zoo is down here.
He looks in the...
Hey, it's reminding me a lot of
He looks like a window for
Fantastic
self-reflection.
what did he say? Most of all, I changed.
Oh yeah.
In a deeply poignant moment, followed directly by a mariachi band. Just
Just
adding to the surrealist elements of this movie.
Yeah, it's a very well structured
You know
movie.
what?
There's a callback in the beginning, the proposal
The
to
more
his
I talk
girlfriend,
about
role
it-
reversal at the end.
This is a layered film, and most people go into this expecting a cheesy family comedy, just surface level stuff. But if you truly take a magnifying glass to it, I think
Yeah.
you could find more.
Like, you can take Lil Billy to see this movie. He'll be like, oh, what'd you think, Lil Billy? He's like, oh, I thought it was funny. He's like, you're an idiot, Lil Billy. You didn't see the moral ambiguity of this film. Do you understand these layers?
I'm gonna say I think that's part of the genius of Zookeeper, though. Is it kind of tricks the audience now. Oh, let's just go see this family film and gives them something so much more than what they
It's
expected.
almost a parody of itself
in a way.
some
It's genius, because Adam Sandler's always doing this dumb voice. It's a parody of himself.
The more I talk about it, the more I think I love this.
Can we give this a 10 out of 10?
Are we?
Is this gonna be
Are
our
we ready for
first
scores?
10 out of 10?
I can't do this anymore.
I need a rewatch. Are you guys down for a rewatch?
Yes. After this?
I
After
think
this
there's
cast?
more layers to unpeel. I think there's deeper secrets.
I think we've
hidden.
scratched the surface of Zookeeper, and if we dig a little
I think we've
deeper,
barely scratched. We're at
Yeah.
the tip of the iceberg here.
Remember when the porcupine put a quote?
Remember when Kevin James knocks over the ice?
Do you remember when Kevin James was fat? And
Remember that time he
tripped?
fell?
Which one?
All right, are we gonna do scores?
No.
This is a movie that transcends scores.
Transcends scores.
Yeah.
Beyond scoring.
I'm gonna give it a who cares out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a... I need to watch it again. Out of 10.
Giving it. I need to think about this. I haven't truly wrapped my mind. I can't truly score this without further viewings. It's like a movie like Synecdoche.
Yeah, or
Yeah, I see the...
8.5. That type of Holy Mountain.
It requires
type of stuff.
it doesn't a second viewing isn't like additory. It's required.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement.
Onto a movie that meant nothing. Zero Dark 30.
I really hope this isn't your first episode of this podcast.
This is
You
insane.
have no idea what is going on.
Yeah. So what's the next one, Nick? What's your movie?
Zero Dark 30.
How long is this movie?
2 hours and 37
Almost
minutes.
240.
Oh, I would have guessed
It's about a
17
zookeeper.
hours long.
It's about a zookeeper and a half.
Wait, Jonathan, you didn't like this movie?
Nick, can you give the plot synopsis?
Who directed
This follows right after the terrorist attack of 2001. I'm losing my mind.
More like 2004.
2011 terrorist attack?
Except there's almost no
Probably.
sense of time passing in this movie
No.
whatsoever.
All
The
right.
characters look exactly the same.
And it's about how...
I have notes.
It's about what the...
I took a couple notes.
I noticed you were under the blanket, like, typing furiously. This is about the huge manhunt for Osama bin Laden and how we got there and what questionable things we did to do there. And it's directed by Kathryn Bigelow. You know what she directed, Carter?
What?
The Hurt Locker.
Yeah, The Hurt Locker is really good.
She also directed...
I hurt after this.
So what did you guys think of Zero Dark 30?
You want to go first, Carter?
Carter can go first.
I didn't like Zero Dark 30. It was very long. It was very dull. There were moments where I got invested, and then I'd be bored. And I don't think this movie does anything exceptionally well. There were definitely opportunities for it to do that, but no. And I think a lot of the acting is really annoying and not very great. Jason Clarke is pretty bad.
Dude, come on, dude. You gotta talk to me, dude. Bro. Come on, we're just bros here. I'm waterboarding you, bro. Come on, bro.
Don't make me waterboard you again.
Dude,
bro.
just give me the names, dude. Come on, bro.
I
literally thought that was a bit. I thought that was like a parody.
An actress I actually like, Jessica Chastain.
Chastain.
What?
Chastain.
Yeah, she's good. She's not good in this movie.
Yeah.
She's bad in this movie, but go watch like Tree of Life. Tree of Life is a beautiful movie. But yeah, she's boring. She's has very little character other than being like this
dedicated,
most generic, like strong, dedicated female ever. She has no personality or.
They try and do character development, like she's shocked in the beginning, even though she's probably went through like CIA training and should have totally expected this, and then she that at some point just does a complete 360 and is ordering
her like turn from being shocked to being like in control. It wasn't handled very well, and I didn't feel that progression at all. This movie is incredibly long, so it made all of the flaws stand out more. So than if it was short.
Long.
All right.
It is kind of an epic, expansive movie that it covers a lot of time and a lot of things. Again, the passage of time doesn't.
You could have told me this was a week, and I would have been like, "Oh, okay, this took place in a week."
There's like no aging visible on any of the characters.
Characters come and go out of the movie as they please. Some barely developed. So there's like, "Oh, he's gone." I guess.
Very little characterization. It's more like just things.
CIA guy
things
one.
are happening.
CIA guy, Tony Soprano.
I mean, I guess it's kind of weird.
All right.
Doing real characterization after real people, but you have to do something so we care.
I would say in like the first 40 minutes, I wasn't that mad at the movie, and then I got really tired of it. And honestly, once Jason Clarke's character left, as much as I thought he was bad in this movie, that the movie got exponentially more boring, and the lead female got more annoying to me, and because that was when she transitioned to like I'm in control. But I didn't feel that at all. I just felt like all of a sudden she was this completely different character.
Her motivation also is really like kind of weak. Like she sees one attack, she's like in one attack, and she's like, all she cares about now is Osama. Like that's all her character is.
She's just dedicated to the job, I guess.
Yeah, but like,
she doesn't have a character.
She doesn't have anything else besides that.
All right. I think out of all the movies we've watched for this podcast, this may have been the one that actively annoyed me and was the most difficult to watch.
Really?
I don't agree with that. Like, go ahead.
Keep in mind, we watched Zookeeper.
Yeah, you tell me you didn't have more fun of a time with Zookeeper?
I had more fun with Zookeeper.
I'm talking about overall experience watching.
Yeah. I had more fun with Zookeeper. This is a much better
Well, yes,
film,
obviously, but I'm
Zookeeper.
saying...
I mean, no. Zookeeper's a masterpiece. What are you talking about?
This movie... When it comes to war movies, I think they can either go one or two ways for the most part. They can touch about the interesting aspects of war, such as what atrocities are committed, how people deal with what they've had to do, whatnot, or it can be basically like war porn, and I think this movie fell into that category. 100%.
I wouldn't say
war
porn. It doesn't glorify it that much.
It does.
I don't think so.
I think it does almost nothing to talk about. I think it says almost nothing interesting about this scenario. I think it is basically like a play-by-play of what happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's what it was going for.
Yeah.
I know, and
So I
I
don't have a
hated
problem
that.
with that.
No, I think that's And that doesn't make it for a good movie.
I don't think it's a good movie either. I don't think it glorifies.
Okay, war porn is a bad thing.
I don't think this is a bad movie, but I don't think it's a good movie.
I don't think it glorifies it either.
I think that it had so many opportunities to touch upon like the wrongdoings we did during the scenario, or like how the soldiers or whatever are affected by what they're seeing, and it almost never does. Like, you see a sign that says, like, stop American terrorism, or you see, like...
That was just because there was a protest.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying it never expanded upon those themes.
It doesn't take a side.
It did, yeah, and I think that's what it was going for. So I didn't have a problem with that. There's a few moments where I felt that a little, like, with the children crying and...
Yeah.
It's the most basic, baseline level, like... stereotypical of that. Like, it does nothing.
I think when it's doing that, it's just going for realism and like what would actually happen.
I know,
but I find that it didn't take a stance.
I'm not saying it needs to take a stance, but I think it needs to look at this stuff a little more interestingly than it did.
I guess I can see that.
It's movies. I don't. When you guys say it's a realistic look at this, I think this is incredibly Hollywoodized, or whatever that word is. I don't think.
I say realistic as in it's not taking like one side to this. It's trying to tell it straightforward.
And it's not presenting it as like this huge victory. One of the aspects I liked of it was they kill Osama bin Laden. It's just like it's not. There's no build up to it.
They're celebrating the next scene. They're making like
they would celebrate.
I'm saying, don't say it
they
wasn't
would
like
celebrate it.
I know, but
it wasn't a climactic scene at all. They just kill him.
But then they spend like the next 10 minutes of like celebrating and her like crying about the body. Like they are celebrating.
That's what have happened.
I know I'm not saying there's a problem with that, but don't say they didn't. They was like nothing happened because.
No, I'm saying the movie presented it in a way where it was like there was no build up, there's no like musical swell when that happened. There was just,
they don't have Osama bin Laden,
and I appreciated that. It wasn't like this huge heroic moment when they killed him. It's just like, all right, they would go in, they do this, they kill him, and then that's what happens. And I appreciated that aspect of the movie. I just think as a whole, the movie's presentation is very generic.
That's what I'm saying. I think it had chances to touch upon interesting themes and aspects of the situation, and it never does. And like you may say that's not what it's going for, but like I think what it was going for is incredibly boring and uninteresting.
It depends. I think it's boring in this case. There's other examples of movies in this style.
I don't think this movie did even the play-by-play very well because the characters weren't developed whatsoever. You're supposed to feel that this girl has been working on this for years, but there's almost no sense of the passage of time.
It could have been like weeks.
Honestly, this could have been like 3 days, and I would be like, oh, okay.
If you want a movie that presents war in a realistic way that doesn't make much of a statement on it, and it's kind of just like this realistic-ish depiction of war. Obviously, we'll never have a ultra realistic depiction of war because movies will never be perfect depictions of war. But honestly, The Hurt Locker.
Read Slaughterhouse 5.
Well, Slaughterhouse 5 is going for an entirely different thing.
I'm not going to get into a Slaughterhouse 5 discussion, but the point of that was to like the chaotic nature of the way that story is told is supposed to represent. There's no way to be realistic about war except in a completely surrealistic way.
There's nothing that stands out to me.
I had a painful time watching this movie. It's so incredibly long.
It's so long.
If this was 90 minutes, I'd probably be more positive.
And it's just the same loop over and over and over. And that's what I'm saying. All they did was, like, I could have read a plot synopsis and been fine. I didn't need to watch this.
It would be more interesting, like, looking at what actually happened.
Yes, looking into, like...
Yeah.
Like a documentary about this, dealing with, like...
For sure.
It would be 100%. And, like, dealing with, like, what actually, like... It shows, like, these brutal torture scenes, but, like, it doesn't say almost anything about them. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't feel like a brutal torture scene.
It doesn't feel real.
It feels like this, like, almost cool movie
That's what I'm saying. There were times where it looked like it was trying to go for these themes and then never expanded upon them, and that's what annoyed me.
Jason Clarke's performance contributed to the torture scenes not having any impact or not feeling like
terrible.
Jason Statham was like one step away from cracking something, be like, alright, we can do this the easy way.
He literally called him like dude and bro during it. I'm like, come on.
Jason Clarke.
Jason Bateman.
And then we see like
That'd be interesting.
The guy gets his pants. The guy gets his pants pulled down.
Probably be better.
And the girl's like, oh. Okay, and then another aspect of this, like, I think they did almost something with the fact that like a woman was doing that. I think they tried to go place with that and never came into fruition. Like we see like the guy is mistreating her and then like she's completely fine with it the next scene. Like they almost never go into that. They never go into the fact that it's a woman doing this. It's just like they're just trying to shoe in like I don't know who in real life was like the actual I don't know if it was like a woman. And they also didn't do
a woman director
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know, but I mean like the person responsible for finding him.
Oh yeah.
If they had done some sort of thing at the end that would like showed like some of the real life people, like that would have helped a little bit.
That would have been stereotypical.
I like when movies do that though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't mind
I just had
there wasn't like a this is hard because I'm a woman scene.
I think they were
'Cause
trying to do that though.
That adds to her like being like I'm so tough and I'm so badass that.
No, I'm just saying. I think they tried to do that and failed at that also.
Yeah,
I don't think they tried to do that. I don't.
They 100%. The dude walking in like, oh, what did I tell you? Like talking about like this girl or like
That
them
just seemed
constant,
like more
them constantly
Jason
like,
Clarke is a
them
douche.
constantly like not going by what she says. I think they were clearly trying to go for like, oh, because she's a woman, they're not doing what she wants and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I think they like never really
He
expanded.
also just
upon
has
that.
a character, not even a change, just like a snap. He just changes automatically.
Who?
Jason Clarke.
Oh yeah, for some reason
Oh,
he
yeah.
just leaves.
He just leaves and
No
he's,
explanation.
he's
except
like
for
in the movie
monkeys.
still, but like he's trying to be like this intellect where he's just like, well.
Yeah, there are some times where he talks like intellectual, and there's other
Yeah.
times he's like, bro, dude, you look at that piece of ass. Oh yeah.
Like when he has a beard, he's like,
Give me somebody pass me a beer.
it's like two people.
He all of a sudden wants to leave too, and it doesn't. There's no build up to that because he's kind of the most into it out of anyone.
Yeah.
And
The
then all of a
scene
sudden
before
out
he's
of it.
like, I'm bad fucking news, and the next he's like, I think I'm going back to
God.
Washington.
We
I'm
talk about
tired.
some of these lines. Like
the writing
The
is
writing is so
kinda
incredibly
rough. The line
boring.
where
pretty generic.
the
and
line where she says, I'm the motherfucker that found that place
Oh,
is
yeah.
so
God.
bad.
such a
Literally, the
cringy-
characters in the scene laugh at her when she says that.
It's such a cringy like.
Her
The
writing,
audience is supposed to cheer
her
when she
writing
says
the
that.
stuff on the board, like
Woo! Look at that feisty little thing.
it's just like
There's
so
also
much like I just felt
there's
pain
scenes that happen
watching
and just
this.
never get developed on. Like there's a scene where she's like shot at her house. That's never developed on again.
She gets shot at. She seems barely affected by it.
She's like, oh boy.
But then, like her friend, like she has like a picture of her friend on the computer that was never established that they were friends.
It was barely.
She barely
established.
seemed to even mourn over it. Like
As
we get like one scene of her upset, I guess.
as long as this movie is, it brings up so many different topics and then like it doesn't do anything with them.
It's
It
an
doesn't say
interesting
anything.
story.
I
It's
I
an
mean,
interesting story.
I want to
We'll
know.
talk about Zetting to Naughts next.
I want
but that's
to-
another movie that juggles like 50 themes at once.
We'll
talk about that.
I want to like this is a scenario I want to know about. But like this movie just felt so Hollywoodized and so like by the books that like I didn't care. I never cared. And this should be something like interesting.
I don't know if I felt pain watching.
I
this. I
did.
felt bored.
I felt like-
I just felt bored. It wasn't like painful.
I
was just
thought
like
this- I had a
I was
painful-
passively watching this, and for the subject matter, it should not be a movie you ever passively watch.
yeah, you should be invested. In
I was like actively annoyed
This
by
is
it.
actually our history, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't be like, okay, this happened.
And
I like Dark Water
If you
better than
list
this.
if you
You
list
like Dark Water better.
Yes.
if you list what happens out in this movie, like this should be a thrilling movie.
Interesting, yes.
Or at
Interesting,
least
like-
a fascinating movie.
But like the way it's presented, it's just like repetitive. Like this name, we found this name. Let's go interrogate him. Oh, something happens. We can't find him. Okay, here's another name. The most predictable car bomb of all time happens.
Yeah.
There's no gut punch to it. I literally called it like 15 minutes before it
I like
happened,
my idea
probably.
better. They Bruce on a horse, and he's like this mystery man. He's mystical too. That would have been great.
It wasn't even like I didn't think it was even shot exceptionally well.
No,
it was
it
just
wasn't.
like bland. Let's talk about the SEAL Team 6 scene where it flip flops back and forth
That's the
between.
scene I'm iffy on. Like I
That's-
thought some of it was pretty good.
Some of it was
I did-
good, and
Some of
then
it was good, and then some of it was
You can't see anything.
like incredibly underexposed.
Literally, the newest Call of Duty game did the SEAL Team 6 stuff better.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
not exaggerating. Like, I felt more invested in that than watching this.
Because it stuck to, it should have either been all these underexposed, hard to see scenes, which would have been realistic, or it would have been all night vision, which would have been realistic.
That
It
would
would
have
have
been the
made
best
you
case
feel like
scenario.
you're experiencing what these soldiers were experiencing. Instead, it flopped between the two, and it just
It's
became
hard to tell
frustrating.
what was going on. Like, a woman was shot, and I was like, why did they shoot her? And you guys were like, oh, she was going for a gun. I was like, I had no clue she was doing that.
Oh, I had no clue you were doing that.
I just didn't see it.
It was frustrating because there were also
It was
effective
frustrating.
moments in that scene.
There is really effective moments. I think that's when the movie's like almost
And-
at its best.
I
Almost,
like, but
yeah.
like,
Yeah, almost at its best.
I don't know.
when it comes to like,
I don't know.
There's not
but it
anything-
brushes by that stuff. Like, it mentions
No, I
it in
think
passing.
I liked that because it was more realistic. That's how it would have been.
I know, but I'm saying like when dealing with like these abandoned kids, they like walk by them and then like it's never mentioned again.
Yeah, that's how it would have been.
I think a
felt
line.
like. I feel like.
I don't think a line being shoehorned in, being like, "We got those kids somewhere," would be better. I honestly don't.
I like the
don't
way
mention
it presented it with those kids.
Yeah, I do too.
Whatever.
See, I like certain aspects of this movie
I do
here
too.
and there, but I think as a whole, it's such a dull, generic, unspecial experience when it, for what it's telling it needed to be, that I think that's why it ultimately flopped and why by the end of the movie I was thankful that it was over.
See, like, I don't even know if I can call this a bad movie.
I can.
I don't think there's anything that openly bad about it.
Yeah.
I think maybe most of the acting is pretty
Yeah,
bad.
I think the acting and writing is bad, but like,
And the way
It's
it's
like
shot.
the-
And the way it's
Maybe the
shot.
two
and
I think the way it's shot is fine. I don't
It's
think it's
fine.
bad.
okay,
ever.
not bad. Fine.
I
All right.
don't know, it's hard to call
Scores.
this a bad movie, but
Rated-
like, it's just kind of bad. It's so
Rating-
weird.
Ready to give
It-
scores?
it's generic, and
It's
then
generic.
with bad elements and good elements.
Yeah,
But that's one of the worst types of movies, honestly.
honestly, yeah.
So
Right.
This is one of the
Nick,
most boring experiences I've ever had.
I
watching a
don't
movie.
want to start.
And I was watching with friends, which should usually be fun no matter what the movie is, and somehow this managed to make it boring.
All right, I
All
guess
right, Nick, your score
4.
4,
3.
3 and 2 4s, just like a Z and 2 not.
I've been waiting for this moment
God,
to
finally.
talk about
Something.
this
I watched this
film.
movie like a week and a half
I watched
ago,
this
and
movie
it's
also.
been stuck
It's been
in my
on
brain.
my mind.
It's been
And
on
this
my
may
mind, too.
this may give away. So the movie is a Z and 2 knots from one Peter
We never even went
Greenaway.
over the Osama thing. We'll do that at the end.
Oh wait, we'll
The
do that.
Osama
later.
thing? What is
The
that?
video game.
Oh yeah, we have a fun little treat at the end.
If we have enough time.
We'll have time, no matter what. We'll make time. But a
There's
Z
no
and 2
time limit on
a
this
Z and
one.
2 knots from one of Peter Greenaway, director of Cook.
One of my all-time favorite movies.
One of my favorites too.
the
Instant,
Thief,
like instant
the wife
favorite
of
after
her
watching.
lover.
And when I picked this, I didn't even realize that it was by him.
Me neither.
I was like, "Oh, this looks cool. I'll pick it." I didn't look at the director, and then like Carter texted me, he was like, "This is Peter Greenaway." I was like, "Oh, I'm excited now."
Yes.
And this movie is about
What is this
two
movie about?
twins who both lost their wives in a car accident, who then become obsessed with both the now amputee woman who is the driver,
Yes.
Mhm.
and also become obsessed with decay and
Mhm.
death itself.
Mhm.
And we'll get into more plot stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's a basic.
Yeah.
That's
um,
like basic summary.
What did
Very
you
light.
guys think of this movie?
Who's
Me
going
first?
Yeah.
Well, this might be the most thematically stuffed movie I think I've ever seen.
Yep.
This movie,
Okay, what did you think of it? What did
oh, I loved it. It might be my favorite thing we've watched so far on this podcast.
Okay, Nick?
I'd probably agree.
Me too.
This movie.
I might be my favorite thing. As much as I love Grand Budapest Hotel,
This-
as much as I love Do the Right Thing, this might
This
be
tops it.
my favorite
100%.
thing we've watched.
I've gone back and forth with this in a cook. Seriously.
And for me, Cook hits the nail on the head a little bit more. And
I do think this is a
less,
little.
little more flawed than Cook.
I do think this is a
in
little
ways.
more dysfunctional, but like
Yes.
it's seriously like it's like this for me. I'm gonna let you guys talk first, but
Well, One of the first things you'll notice about this movie is how beautiful every shot is.
Gorgeous. It's an evil Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Peter
directed this.
Greenaway was a painter before he made movies, and you can tell because every shot is gorgeously composed. It's like if Wes Anderson added more moving parts
And was also evil.
and was evil and made these bizarre, vulgar, disgusting, dark, like just rude tales. Like his movies are rude.
This is a movie about like he's so focused on symmetry in this movie, and it
fits with the theme.
fits the theme, which is like take something like Grand Budapest Hotel. Like it's symmetrical for an aesthetic purpose, but it doesn't really have to do with the theme. This is symmetrical for both an aesthetic purpose and also almost very perfectly fits the themes it's going for, and I think that's like incredible, genius.
Well, another aspect I love about this movie is the movie starts and immediately you think, okay, this is going to be a tale about grief. And then maybe like 30 or 40 minutes into this movie, it becomes a completely different movie about like togetherness and obsession and the grief aspects. They're still there.
Life itself and like the craziness.
And then there's persistent themes of bestiality,
like sexual fantasies,
and sexual kinks,
like,
and
I don't know, sexual deprivation maybe.
Yeah, persistent themes of like of not feeling loved or feeling empty, and like finding someone to connect with.
This is a whole nother beast of a movie.
There's just like there's so many things you can get out of watching this film. And
I can't wait to watch it again.
It handles
I can't wait to watch it
in ways that are I've never seen.
If I wasn't like pressed for time and had to watch movies, I would have like rewatched it by now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Some other aspects. I think clear to say, seeing 2 of Peter Greenaway's movies, I obviously want to watch all of them now. He's like the king of escalation.
Yes.
Both of his movies escalate in incredible ways, and he's the king of payoffs. The music, absolutely love the music in this.
The same composer of.
I had it. It was like stuck in my head, both like the Decay song and like the overall theme.
I really loved it anytime it came on. Time-lapse
the Decay itself, the time-lapse Decay was so like gross and fun to watch.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
I found
if we listed out what happens in this movie, it's a disgusting movie.
And it's like it's almost
2 kids get their dog killed and they just steal it from them and put it in
I think
their
they're
sign
like,
show.
damn, maybe. It's like, don't worry, it'll decay.
There's a woman who goes around to these grieving brothers to try to make them feel better.
These
sexually.
2 brothers want to stitch themselves together, literally. And I was hoping they would do it. I wanted that to happen.
I thought they did do it at one point.
That scene of them in the 2 suits.
It's incredible.
Oh. There's so much to unravel. It's like hard to like think about it. I wish I took more note.
One of the most like gut punch moments in this for me, and it was such a great representation because you'll never see this in most other movies. Such a harsh portrayal of what depression and grief feels like. He's just
eating glass.
sitting completely naked, and it's not a baby movie, so they don't hide anything. He's full nude in the shot.
This is definitely not a baby movie.
Covered in blood, eating glass.
The shot through the keyhole is so cool.
It's such a blunt just depiction of what it feels like to hurt.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
I love how like dry everyone is in this movie. The dialogue is so dry. It's so like this is not how people talk. These people do not talk how people talks, but it works perfectly with the movie and the themes it's trying to go for.
I guess I'll get my one maybe a little negative out.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
The child acting is a little bad, and there's a few moments that are a little stilted, but some of it is intentional.
I thought some of the
the
dialogue was like a little like on the nose. Like there's like spitting like weird random facts at each other, which like it fits with it. Like it's fine. I didn't like again like
they weren't movie ruining.
These are incredibly
experiences,
minor nitpicks.
Nothing ruined this movie.
The good stuff of this movie is so good that
It's
it cancels
so,
out
like,
any negative.
Yeah, like I had an absolute blast watching
There's like
this.
some
And this-
weird,
yes,
disturbing
as-
shots. in
as-
this
there
movie,
was-
too.
As miserable and
Fuck.
disturbing as this movie is, it's incredibly fun
It
to
is
watch.
Yes, it's funny.
And
There's
it's funny,
funny
too. It's really
moments.
funny.
We haven't even mentioned the structure of this movie. It's structured
Kind of
in
all
a
over
way,
the place.
It's all over
kind
the place.
of, but
But it's also
it's-
it has
there's
the one
repeating-
main
there-
loop
yeah.
of like going up the food chain,
Yes.
which I think is so cool.
Yes, there's the persisting,
and
the
that
food
is a
chains going
perfect
up.
explanation of like the escalation of obsession and
Yes.
how bad obsession can get to the point where you're literally asking for your loved one's dead body to study it. At
Oh
the
my
end.
god,
It's
when
like,
they ask for her dead body.
Well, which theme should we tackle first? Are we tackling grief?
Okay.
Are we tackling the sexual king? Because
I don't. This is such a
another
tough
way
one
this
to tackle.
film ends, one of the stories ends with a woman going to have sex with a zebra.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then just
Yes.
like like that's her. Everyone had their own obsession. Like the guy
Yes.
with the amputee painting, her with twins, them with death and decay.
Yeah.
It's so.
Oh,
I love how
the,
it tackles-
The amputee has to get her other leg cut off so
Yes,
that
'cause
she's
it's
more
symmetrical.
It's
symmetrical.
so symmetrical. Oh my god.
Like they say the name of the movie in it, and it's not in an annoying way. Like I think a
No.
lot of movies do. I think I loved how it did that. Okay, let's. Where do we start with this movie?
So
It's
hard.
so hard to pick
I
where
could
to
have a
start.
whole podcast for that into it.
Okay, let's start with the
Yeah.
ending. Disgusting
It's
The
so
ending
and
gross.
so dark.
Satisfying.
So and it's so dark because
didn't-
like
they didn't achieve what they
literally
wanted.
didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
They won
they
the-
sacrificed their life for this science project, which by
Which
the way,
no one cares about.
no one cares
No
about.
one cares
There's
about
no
except for
purpose
them.
for it
There's
to
really
exist.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like they're not actually studying
yeah.
anything. They're just like it's their own.
It's just like we're gonna
weird
watch
obsession.
decay. Everyone's constantly like making fun of them
Which
or messing with
is
them.
interesting
over it.
because it's assumed that Peter Greenaway himself had to do these decay shots, so in a way it was his weird
Yeah,
obsession.
yeah.
Like it's like
Gross.
almost self-reflective on his
yeah,
own.
they're real decay shots.
So
They're-
like
Yeah.
I think it's like a look into his obsessions when it comes to symmetry and OCD when it comes to his movies. Like very interesting stuff. Like there's so many levels and layers to
the
this.
best thing a movie can do be a reflection of the artist's own vision. I see that completely in this movie.
100%.
That's why I love it.
Oh yeah, this is a movie we've talked about in other movies. Studio interference. There was nothing.
Oh,
this is
he
all
ha-
him. The
I
whole
think
time.
that's
him.
probably all of his movies.
One thing that amazes me is these movies aren't popular. None of his movies
No,
are
I
popular
wouldn't say
movies.
anymore.
But there's a weird level of quality to every
craft
aspect
that, like,
of it.
Yeah.
why aren't
Where
they talked
I don't know
about?
where he got the budget for these films. I don't know
There
how
has to
he
be a
got.
budget
know
to this movie.
why.
I know.
I don't know why they're not talked about.
Yeah, no, he's a very like unknown director kind of.
There's so many
I-
shots I can just like picture. Like the one where it's in their laboratory and like the blinking lights and they're going
Yes.
past it
I was just
dark.
about to mention.
Any
Just the
scene where she's in
shuttering
the
is so
bed,
bright.
any
There's
scene
a
where she's in the
scene-
bed, like it's like straight up like a Roman painting. It's
Incredibly
so gorgeous.
early on, there's like a zooming and everything is flashing around him,
It's
and
so
it's
good.
to him like in grief after he found out his wife is dead.
Yeah,
One of
it's
the guys is like obsessed with snails, and it leads to so many gross scenes.
It's not just beautiful
Yeah, it's-
imagery. Part of the imagery is that everything is constantly moving.
And
There's
it's so
lights
guttural.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's
the color in this movie is
Yes.
fantastic.
so great.
There's so many bright reds, and there's just like so much profound color.
should we talk about the two lead performances because those are fantastic.
Also great.
As well.
Even her, I think like even the
Yes,
side characters
the,
all.
the amputee lady is
Like,
great.
The French amputee lady.
The sexual savant, I guess. I don't know.
I don't
what to
know.
call
Everyone
her.
like even like the characters that weren't like major, like they were. I was interested. I was interested in the painter who's obsessed with his amputee. It's so many weird, awkward characters. This amputee love story that happens in the middle of
Yeah.
it. Like
It's completely its own thing. There's nothing like this
it's
that I've ever
wholly
seen.
unique.
And yet you can still see how his style has influenced
100%.
so many modern filmmakers.
Like-
Ari Aster has cited it as one of his biggest influences.
I love
Obviously-
Ari Aster, so watching this movie was fantastic for me. I obviously saw the like notes there of Ari Aster, and I was like,
Oh,
this is
100%.
so good.
the bugs like reminded me of the scene in
Like
Hereditary.
I love visual things.
Even like the sort of it's incredibly dark, but there's a sort
Yeah,
of like
there's,
comedic tone to it, which also
It's
are in Ari Aster movies.
Like one of the darkest comedies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's
it's
incredibly dark comedy.
It's
like dark comedy.
Like a
black
dark
comedy.
scene will happen, then this like weird, like creepy kind of loopy music will just start playing.
That I love the music.
The soundtrack is so good.
I like listened to it directly after.
me too.
Like I was like
I need to download it. I really need
it's
to
so
listen to
good.
The appeal of this movie, I cannot say. It's a very.
No.
It's not a
strange.
broad appeal
Anytime
at all.
anyone in
Which-
my house was seeing me watch this, they were really confused.
I was scared. I was like on family vacation. I was like scared that someone would look at my screen.
My dad
while I
was just so
watching.
confused. He came in during the glass scene. He's like, I don't know what to say.
It's such a unique vision.
It's so.
And it's its own beast. And there's so many things. Like we've struggled to even make sense of.
Yeah, I
anything.
need to.
Yeah.
I need to
'Cause
watch
it
it
feels
again.
like you gotta.
We joked about Zookeeper being one that requires a rewatch. This really does require
This
a
is
rewatch.
legit.
Like I almost feel
like.
like unequipped to talk about it right now, based on.
I know. I feel like
Yeah,
I can't
I feel like
fully
there's-
unpack
I
everything.
feel like it came to like gunfight with a knife.
And
There's-
you know
there's-
what? I mentioned that I go back and forth with this and a cook. I think that like overall, like as an experience, I think a cook is like a more like crafted and like. But I think like I felt more connected to the themes that this dealt with than that.
Thematically, I think this movie is more ambitious than
And
The
that's-
Cook. However, I think The Cook handles its themes in a more
I think The
complete,
Cook-
fully realized way, and where I felt satisfied about how everything wrapped up more so than I did in this movie.
And I felt unequipped to
even though-
talk about a cook because that's dealing with like Churchill or whatever Thatcher's rule.
Thatcher.
Like that's something I don't really know much about.
I think there's a lot you can
There's obviously
interpret
more
about
to it than
capitalism
that. Yeah,
and
yeah,
how the rich
100%.
bully the poor in that movie as
Yeah.
well. That movie,
I need to see it.
100% recommend.
Masterpiece.
Cook, the thief. Another aspect of this movie that is, there's so many things to talk about. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things you can't talk about anything.
I couldn't get
It's
those
just all-
decays out of my head, like watching.
No.
it.
Yeah.
And they consistently got like worse and worse and grosser.
That's the
and
escalation
grosser.
you were talking about. It's
It's-
so
this
great.
movie
Like it starts with like a
escalates so
crowfish, but then
well.
it ends with like a zebra, and it
We're
even works
talking
with the
about-
thematic.
We're talking about the decays. The music that plays over the decays is like this happy-go-lucky,
like it's so,
goofy,
and that's what they're
it-
playing.
It
They played at the
perfectly
end.
represents the entire tone of the movie is represented by those decay scenes. It's like this dark, disgusting, vile thing, but there's this weird light tone, not light, but like almost like it's mocking them tone
Yeah.
to it. It's a rude movie. It's his movies have
crude.
this brunt
They're very like
crudeness to
in
them.
your face.
It never
yeah.
holds back, and that's why it's like amazing.
It's brash. It's
It's out
interesting
there,
about the decay. Like
and it's
I
there.
found myself being obsessed with the decay. I wanted to know like what the next animal would look like.
It's
Yes.
fucked up. I
Like,
wanted
I was
to see
like-
the
I was
lady
like-
decay. I was excited.
I was
for
like,
that.
Yeah.
I was like, are they gonna show it? Like, I
Like,
had
I
a
was-
extremely morbid curiosity.
Yeah,
about
it
it.
That's why it works so
it
well.
did- it did-
It makes you obsessed almost.
It didn't give you the payoff of seeing a human decay, but
Almost like laughing in your face, like, what the hell? What's
like,
why
why
did you?
why
weirdo?
were you
Like, why did you?
You're
you
like
really
them.
wanted
You
to
didn't
see
get
this?
you didn't get the final payoff either, and they didn't get to complete their project, and neither you didn't get to see the wonderful payoff of watching a human decay.
I'm Peter Greenaway. I seen the human decay.
Probably has.
Yeah, it probably has.
And when they
It's in
play,
his next movie.
they play the decay music over the snails crawling
Oh,
over.
the snails crawling
over the
gross.
body.
And that
Nice.
works again because
I-
the guy had an obsession with snails.
That's just where like it hit the nail on the
Like
head.
made no sense. Like
Making-
where these snails
making
come
fun of
from?
it. No,
No, it makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Let's go.
He taught. They say there's a line where the woman is like, "There's snails everywhere."
Let's
throughout
go
here,"
also
and they
means
talk.
snail.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they
In
talk
French.
about how there's snails like overrunning. The
I thought it was
grass
just.
and stuff.
I thought it was just like symbolic or
No.
metaphorical.
It's
No.
symbolic and metaphorical. But
Yeah,
it's
it is,
literal.
but they set it up with like the
Oh,
fields
literal.
are overrun with snails.
He's like, I need to go there now.
Beyond thematic stuff, I thought that the story itself was really interesting and
It's
gripping
so-
too. Like I wanted to see where it was going.
I was never bored throughout this entire
Yeah.
movie.
This is-
How
one
long
word you
is this
cannot
It's hour 50.
under
Hour
2
15.
hours if
Damn.
went by like that for me.
Yeah, it went by super fast.
I wouldn't even say it's a fast-paced movie. I
It's
think
not that
it
fast,
takes
no.
its time, but like
time, but there's such a build to it.
there's such craft.
You feel
in each scene,
yes.
like, I was so excited to just gush about this movie.
Me too.
I feel like we haven't even talked about.
I know we could have like a whole podcast about this.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so hard because there's still things that are like popping up in my mind. Like you need to talk about this. You need to talk about this aspect. We didn't even really explain like what exactly happened.
okay, yeah, I'll give a quick run through. Like, these two guys become There's two twins.
We find out they're twins later in the movie.
Okay, yeah. There's two brothers, I'll say, who become.
Oh, yeah.
Also, okay, one other aside. One other aside
Conjoined.
Yeah.
where they get to the point where you can't even tell them apart.
That's
I
so
think it's
great.
so genius.
It
Like I was
starts,
like, I literally was
slowly,
like,
and
okay,
then,
I don't know
like-
who's who
and-
anymore.
Talking about a movie that like does that subtly.
The
It's like it's
Exorcist 3.
slowly.
Yeah, it was one scene where I was just like, oh god, I can't tell them apart.
You
There
realize
was one
they're-
scene
they're
when they were like
blending
standing in the
together.
suit. I was like, wait, who's who?
They
like it like hit me. I was like,
They,
wait a
they
second.
start off looking completely different too.
And it reflects them coming
Yes.
together too. Like, cause they didn't want anything to do. Okay,
Almost like
back
there's
to
a
the
togetherness to grief.
back.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Back to the plot. There's two brothers who both their wives die in a car accident based off they hit a swan.
Yeah, they
I
hit a
think,
swan.
whatever.
That's another great shot.
And then
Yeah.
yes, every shot was a great shot, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they become obsessed with both the woman driver who's an amputee and is in the hospital, and then obsessed with death. And the obsession starts with more of them looking for signs. And I thought like that's another theme it deals with, like looking for signs in life of like, why is this stuff happening to me? Like why there needs to be a reason for this. Reminded me of The Serious Man in that way. But what?
I got no response.
Yeah,
I just
I
thought it was
don't
funny
know.
that you mentioned that.
What?
Because you love that movie.
Talk about the
I
goddamn
lost
movie.
my train of thought now.
Okay,
I should have
sorry.
said.
I didn't do anything.
No, I lost my own train of thought. So this is bad podcast.
Anyway, scores?
Sorry. But their obsession grows from obsession with like the event itself, and obviously they're watching documentaries about life, and then from there on they get obsessed. They simultaneously get obsessed with decay, and then more obsessed with the woman at the same time to like a sexual points, and like their obsession just gets grimier and grimier. One of them tries to kill themselves. They have sexual relations. They decide to move in with this woman. They get sexual with each other. They get the twins get closer and closer to the point where they literally ask to be surgically stitched together.
Yeah, because they were conjoined.
They
twins,
want to
yeah.
be re-stitched together, which is another great reveal. That they literally were separated and then coming back together. Another theme dealing with how people come together for grief. So they get more. They run a zoo. We never even mentioned the fact that they run a zoo,
They don't run it. They
which
work
is
at it.
And the zoo has amputated animals.
Yeah, they have an amputated gorilla.
which ZOO. They incorporate. There's so many like.
We haven't talked about the zebra image. There's
The
something
zebras-
black.
the
they're
black and
always
white.
talking about black and
Yeah.
white.
Keep going on with the story. There's so many like asides to go on with this because there's so many layers that all connect so well. They run a
Filled to the
zoo
brim.
and they find a way to take animals from the zoo to study their decay and whatnot. They take a dead dog, and they get to a point where this amputee woman she cuts off her other leg to be symmetrical. Gets to the point where she finds another amputee person that she loves, and she's also pregnant. Forgot to mention that she
Yeah,
gets
she gets
pregnant at some
pregnant with
point.
She gives twins.
She
of course.
has twins, of course, and they're like, "Oh, one for each," and they're like, "I don't want you two weirdos to be the dad."
I love that too. That
Yeah.
she kind
She's
of
like-
strings them along the
And
whole
she's like,
movie, and then she's
you
just
know
like,
what?
nah, no, I don't want you to be involved.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of weird.
I think she kills herself.
I wasn't sure if she killed
For
herself or she like just died from
Yeah.
natural causes.
No, because there's like one line where her servant leaves and she says something about like I took them
I
or
took
something.
the pills.
Okay, it's interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, and then they're like they trade the kids basically for her body they agree to give up the kids if they can have her body to study afterwards. And obviously her family is like, nope, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then their only answer to that is like, well, I guess we have to study ourselves.
We'll kill ourselves.
That's
And like what I just said is like that isn't even mentioning like their side plots of like the prostitute being obsessed, like having sexual fantasies over the zebra, the painter who's obsessed with this certain painting and wanting to recreate it.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's
He
an
copies
interesting.
all-
And he like literally was like, oh, I can mess up her surgery. I can just kill her and then you can have her. And they're like,
the painter's like wife character who
oh, like it shows them
bizarre.
weird scene in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to make of that. I still there's
Like
a
it-
lot to.
Like we're all saying, we need a rewatch.
There's so much
It's-
to watch this movie.
It feels like
All-
we should
all
revisit
the
this movie
ba-
at some point.
All of the best movies we've talked about, our reviews have been the worst because it's just
Yeah.
been us.
So much.
It's just
like,
us
Us just bumbling through.
yeah,
what we
bumbling,
liked.
trying to
So,
say.
oh, I really thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
But
hard
that
to
just
explain. It's
shows-
hard to explain
It
a lot
shows,
about
it
this
shows
movie.
how good the movie is.
But
And
you
have this
feel- you
reaction
feel the
to
thing.
it.
Passion makes you dumb.
It's better than us silently being like, this was
Depressed.
okay. Or
Zero
something like
Dark
that. The
Thirty.
Q
Yeah.
episode.
I hope this made you want to watch
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
And I, for one, am excited to watch all of his
I'm
movies.
excited to watch. Me
I
too.
instantly am like, okay, this guy has potential to be like one of my favorite directors
Yes.
now. Like, 2 bangers back to back I've seen from him. I'm like excited.
Alright, are we just gonna move into scores?
Scores?
Scores.
Are we... Sorry if that was a really bad
Who wants to go
discussion.
first?
It was kind of all over the place.
That doesn't matter.
Alright, 10 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Nice.
That's my first 10 out of 10. I'm proud of it.
I'm 10.
That was a good trace. That was a great
Well,
trace.
That was a great episode.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just because of that movie.
Somehow-
Honestly, our favorite was Zen and Do Nots.
I may have to go with Zookeeper on this
Zookeeper.
one.
I hate
Zero Dark
Zookeeper.
30.
No.
Zero Dark 30 is really gripping.
Even
Alright,
though
obviously I
Zookeeper
picked
is
Zen and Do
undeniably a
Nots.
surrealist masterpiece, it's not as good
I
as
might
Zen
have
and Do
my
Nots.
least favorite and my favorite movie in one episode.
Yeah. Zed and Two Knots. My
Can't
favorite.
believe Zero
Obviously.
Dark 30 is your least favorite over
That's at least a 9.5 from you.
If you like Zed and Two Knots, go check out Cook the Thief, the Wife, and
I thought you were about to say Zookeeper.
I need to
Cook
rewatch. I want to
the Thief
rewatch.
will-
I need to rewatch both of them.
I need to watch
to
that
get
movie
my
now.
to wrap my brain about which one I
the
like
Cook
more.
the Thief, the Wife, and her lover. Definitely go check
It's
that out.
always been on
That's
my list, but
probably
now
my
I just
top
need to
5
watch it.
favorite movies. I love that movie. So I loved this movie as well. And
Alright.
Jonathan, what was your favorite?
A Zed Zoo. Zed Life's a zoo.
Life is a Zoo.
We bought a zoo.
We bought a zoo.
Next
We had 2
episode,
zoo.
W.
We had 2 zoo movies.
Yeah.
We should have made it a theme. We wouldn't have to have suffered
What
through
third
Zero
movie?
Dark 30.
Zoom.
Zoolander.
Zombies is actually.
Zoolander.
If we had to watch Zoolander and Zookeeper both for an episode, I would
Yeah, that
probably
would have been rough.
What if
I would have.
picked
I would have.
Zombies?
I would have eaten glass.
I would have.
Alright, well, are we doing plugs or are we just not doing that anymore?
Yeah, let's do plugs.
Alright. We
We
forgot
wanna support-
Osama again.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait. Okay. One
We
more
gotta
quick
like this
thing.
little-
Alright, if you
Quick,
ended
Nice
it
little
already,
treat.
this is
Don't
a
end the
treat for
episode.
all
We
you
were
people.
listening to the plugs every episode.
Yeah. Now that those losers are gone.
Yeah, now that the real fans are here.
Oh.
We were actually lying about Zookeeper. You
Can
don't
find the
know.
article.
Yeah, it was sarcastic.
We're sarcastic masterminds.
So after the raid of Osama's hiding spot, they found some interesting things in his files. Some video games, some movies.
Me and Carter do not know this.
They looked
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
They looked through his YouTube history a
We're
little
being
bit
told
too.
this
They looked
on
through his
air.
YouTube history?
I mentioned it mentions these video games, but there's also mentioned some movies and videos that he enjoyed watching.
Okay, I'm really excited.
So I have here.
Zed and Two Knots, one of his
The
favorite
CIA has
movies.
published a list of video. This is I'm gonna credit the writer. Callum Henderson wrote this article.
Who drew
Um,
the picture?
Yeah, can this be our thumbnail for the episode? I think okay. So the games they found, and there other people use these. These might not necessarily be his, but they went through like his Steam library and like all sorts of
We'll
libraries.
discuss all.
Here are some of the games.
I bet it was his kids.
Here's some of the games they found.
Yes.
No, I totally could have seen them playing some of this.
All right, let's see.
I can see him.
Final Fantasy VII,
Final Fantasy
Can't
7.
see that.
Advent Children. I don't know what that
I
is.
don't know what that is.
Resident Evil. This is the one that really got me. Animal Crossing Wild World. Didn't take Osama for a fan of that, and Super Mario Bros.
Please don't be tripping.
And then this is what they said the most interesting one was
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike.
I knew about that one.
And the ending line of this
practicing.
was like, who knows, maybe you fragged Bin Laden in a Counter-Strike server or even played on his team. It's
Oh my
pretty
God.
interesting.
Maybe
So
you're
this is
the
the
one that
games he
smoked
played.
up.
He also played Half-Life too, which is
Man,
funny.
Taste, I see.
Yeah, these are
Some
pretty
of the
good
movies.
games so far.
Let's talk about
Let's
those
hear the
movies.
movies.
Movies,
This is a movie podcast.
This is the one I wanted.
These I think are his kids, because
Let's hear them.
Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Ants, Cars,
Yeah, these are all
Tom
his
and
kids.
Jerry,
No.
Mr. Bean.
You really think Osama bin Laden had the time to play video games and watch movies?
He loved them.
As well as a number of viral videos, such as Charlie Bit My
Yeah,
Finger,
it's his kids.
and 28 crocheting tutorials, which I don't think were his kids.
Probably his wife.
No, she doesn't know. She can't use a computer.
He had to be doing some stuff this whole time. But yeah, whatever. Take this all with a grain of salt. This is a
We have
funny
no
article.
confirmation that Osama bin Laden actually did any
Yeah.
of these.
No, in my mind, Osama was watching Ice
In
Age.
my,
Dawn of
in
the
my
Dead.
mind,
I
he's
like-
playing. He's selling. He's getting those bells in Animal Crossing every night.
I like the idea of Osama bin Laden being like, you know what I've been meaning to do for so long and just never got around to it? Crocheting.
He had a lot of time on his hands. I mean,
He was like, never mind.
Oh.
say it.
We're not saying that.
Say it.
Alright, I'm Mr. Blister on Letterboxd. Mr. Blister Reviews on Instagram. I don't post on Instagram anymore.
Letterboxd, also John Pietrofazzo, where I guess there's some discrepancy between my scores. Like, for instance, my Letterboxd may say that Zookeeper is half a star, but as you've heard me discussing here, I think there's more to it than that.
Yes.
So,
I'm on Instagram, Nick Movie Reviews. I'm also on Twitter, just Nick Cody. You should find me. I have a letterbox, but rarely use it. I promise I will use it more. Okay.
no, you won't.
I plan on using it more.
Lastly, we're not going to forget this time. What's our next letter?
Oh, yes. I don't know.
Our letter
You look it up.
is.
Is it
We're
M?
going to do it on air. Just kidding.
Is it M?
I'm actually. Oops, I accidentally just called.
I don't know what the letter is.
Don't worry,
I
I'm
honestly
getting
don't
it.
know.
I'm getting
It was M, wasn't it?
I think it was.
I forgot what I picked for M. I'm not gonna lie.
What movies do we pick for M? I know Nick
I
remembers
don't
his.
remember. Yeah, you gave it a 1.
Nick picked Magic Mike, double points for that one. Carter picked Man from Earth,
Man from Earth.
and I picked The Moment of Truth.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.